What if I told you that everything you think you know about history is completely wrong? Like, what if I told you that the woolly mammoths you see in museums were actually walking the earth at the same time the ancient Egyptians were building the Great Pyramids? It sounds absolutely insane, but it's 100% true, and that's not even the craziest thing we're going to talk about today. We're diving deep into some of the most unbelievable, mind-blowing facts from history that sound completely made up. If mammoths hanging out with pyramid builders isn't wild enough for you, how about a full-scale war that was over in less time than it takes to watch an episode of your favorite show? I'm talking about a war that started and finished in just 38 minutes. It's the shortest war in all of recorded history, and the story behind it is just as nuts as the timeline. Get ready, because today, we're going on a historical adventure like no other. We're going to prove that reality is way, way crazier than any movie you've ever seen. I've put together the most insane historical facts I could find, and we're going to explore them together right now. Okay, let's get right into it. When you think of a woolly mammoth, what do you picture? Probably a giant hairy elephant-like creature roaming a frozen tundra, right? You probably imagine them alongside cavemen, maybe getting hunted with spears. It feels like something from a movie, like something that happened millions of years ago, way, way before any kind of civilization we'd recognize. That's what I thought too, but it turns out we were all completely wrong. Most people associate mammoths with the Ice Age, a period that ended around 10,000 years ago. And for the most part, that's accurate. As the planet warmed up, the massive ice sheets retreated, and the grasslands they depended on for food disappeared. Their world was changing faster than they could adapt, and it led to a massive extinction event for these incredible giants. But here's where the story gets absolutely insane. A small, isolated group of mammoths didn't get the memo. They survived. Mainland North America, Siberia. A tiny population found themselves trapped on a remote piece of land in the Arctic Ocean. This place is called Wrangel Island, and it became their final sanctuary, a real-life Jurassic Park. But for mammoths. Imagine being one of these mammoths. The world you knew is gone. All the other herds you might have once roamed with are just gone. You're stuck on this island, a little slice of the old world, surrounded by the sea. For thousands of years, this small group just kept going, completely unaware that they were the last of their kind. They were a living relic, a ghost from a bygone era, holding on long after the world had moved on. Now, let's switch gears for a second and talk about ancient Egypt. The Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed around 2560 BC. It's a testament to human ingenuity, a colossal monument that took tens of thousands of people decades to build. It represents the dawn of a new era of civilization, engineering, organized society. Here is the part that will blow your mind. The last population of woolly mammoths on Wrangel Island didn't die out until around 1650 BC. Do the math. Those mammoths lived nearly 1,000 years after the Great Pyramid was completed. Egyptians developing hieroglyphics, building temples, establishing a powerful empire, and real woolly mammoths still walked the earth. It's an incredible overlap in timelines that just doesn't feel real. You could have been an Egyptian scribe writing on papyrus, and at that exact moment, a mammoth was munching on shrubs on an island thousands of miles away. It completely reframes how we think about ancient history. These two worlds actually coexisted. Wrangel Island mammoths were different. Island isolation led them to evolve smaller. They were a dwarf version of their gigantic mainland ancestors. This process is called insular dwarfism. So they weren't the colossal beasts you see in museums, but they were still very much mammoths. Their survival on Wrangel Island is a story of incredible resilience. For over 5,000 years, after mainland populations vanished, this little group held on. They adapted to a smaller territory, surviving in a world that had forgotten them. They were the last echo of the Ice Age, a final chapter scientists later discovered. Think how close we were to having mammoths in recorded human history. Ancient Greeks could have sailed north and found them. Roman explorers could have stumbled upon them. It's crazy to think these creatures almost made it into the modern era. They outlived Stonehenge, they were contemporaries of Mesopotamia, they were contemporaries of the Indus Valley. Ultimately, their time ran out. Scientists point to a combination of factors. Climate change might have made the island unlivable, or the arrival of humans may have sealed their fate. Around 1650 BC, the very last woolly mammoth took its last breath. So, next time you see a picture of the pyramids, remember this. While people marveled at that new, shining monument, a small herd of woolly mammoths still roamed the earth. History is full of weird overlaps, and this one is mind-blowing. Alright, so we've established that mammoths were chilling while pyramids were being built. Now, let's talk about the opposite end of the time scale. Instead of lasting thousands of years, we're talking about a war over in less time than a pizza delivery. The shortest war in recorded history, the Anglo-Zanzibar War, 1896. Zanzibar, a small island off East Africa, then under heavy British influence. They had a pro-British sultan, Hamad bin Thawani. Everything went smoothly until August 25th. Sultan Hamad suddenly died. Many historians suspect poisoning by his cousin, Khalid bin Bargash. Khalid wanted independence. Without British approval, he declared himself sultan and moved into the palace. Basil Cave sent an ultimatum. Get out by 9 Samochi a.m. on August 27th, or we will open fire. Khalid refused to back down. He gathered about 2,800 men. He had artillery. He had machine guns. He even had an armed yacht, the HHS Glasgow. He barricaded the palace. The British had 5 Royal Navy warships in the harbor, modern cruisers, gunboats. The guns were aimed at the palace. The deadline, 9 a.m. So there you have it. Woolly mammoths outlived the pyramids and a war was fought and won in just 38 minutes. If that doesn't make you rethink history, I don't know what will. It just goes to show you that the past is filled with so many insane, unbelievable stories that are just waiting to be discovered. The timeline of our world is so much more complex and interconnected than we learn in school. Ancient creatures overlapping with modern empires in the most unexpected ways. These are the kinds of stories that I love finding and sharing with you guys. We barely even scratched the surface today, and there are thousands of other stories just like these out there. If you thought this was as crazy as I did, make sure you're subscribed and tell me in the comments, mammoths or the 38-minute war. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.